property taxes are going up again in the city of Philadelphia. Tune in now. This is Toole Time. I am Tom Toole. She is Jess Lion. We are back with some interesting stuff this week. Topic number one, property taxes are going up in Philadelphia again. This is the second time this has happened with the reassessment going on in the city. Jess, fair, unfair? Fill us in and certainly can go over the facts.
I think it's causing an uproar. A lot of the residents think it's unfair. I think at this point they're just like, are they going to continue to go up? They don't know why, or I feel like they don't know really what goes into the assessment, and it's a little unclear to them, and they don't really know how to prevent it. They don't know that they can appeal their taxes and get them reassessed and things like that. So I think it's unfair to the homeowners in Philadelphia to not know the reasoning behind any of this, where these values are coming from. I think they need to be a little bit more educated.
So I would agree with you that the people complaining in the article on Philly.com need to be more educated.
Yes.
What I also know is I own property in Philadelphia, and I've done my own research, and I know exactly what's going on. So I don't think it's that unheard of. The year-over-year increase citywide for this reassessment is 3.1%. Mm-hmm. You look at taxes in any of the suburban markets right now, that's about what they go up every year. 3.1% is in line with what's going on with home values or normal property tax increases. Now, the difference is that they saw kind of the one of the case studies here. I think they took an extreme example. It's up in the Northeast where the person's taxes went up 14.9% in 2019. They're going to go up another 9.8% next year. Mm-hmm. The issue is these people were already undertaxed. They were paying like $800 a year in property taxes. And if you look at the city of Philadelphia for what's going on right now with property taxes, in 2018, there was almost 150 million delinquent real estate property taxes. It was 144 million to be exact, and 42% of that is non-actionable by the city. So the bigger issue here is people aren't paying their taxes in Philadelphia, and the city's broke, and they have all these problems because of it. Mm-hmm. The reassessment, I mean, the $500, $600, $700 a year in property taxes, go find me somewhere in the country where that's the case. We can go move there, because this is like unheard of nationwide.
I agree, and I don't think that people really understand that, and they really don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't even think they know that they can get an appraiser out there and, get the value of their home and have someone they can appeal their taxes. So
they 100% can. I've done it every
You have?
time for the properties we own in Philadelphia, and every time they have brought down the number. So it's just like when someone buys new construction in the suburban market, right? And they don't appeal their taxes, and they bitch and complain that their taxes are too high.
They're not doing anything about it.
But the
They're just
neighbor
complaining.
down the street, I had a client that did this. They appealed their taxes 3 times, and their taxes were 25% less than the same home built up the street. So I appreciate people feeling wronged and scammed here. The reality is they're not doing anything about it. You have the opportunity to act or not act, and I mean, you get notices in the mail.
Yeah.
I get them all the time. You got to fill it out. There's a deadline. It's really simple. If you don't open your mail and don't read it, I don't feel so bad for you. I mean, and this is, and in the city, I mean, they have issues with collecting taxes in general. I told you what the real estate tax delinquency was. For business taxes, it's another $57 million. So they've got $200 million out there on the street that should have been collected. So is it unfair that these people the taxes are going up on properties? I don't know that it's unfair because it happens everywhere else.
Exactly.
In California, they reassess every time you buy or sell a home. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is not unheard of stuff here. So I appreciate where people are coming from. And again, when you see a 3.1% increase year over year for single family homes, 8.1% increase for condos, 6.5% increase for commercial and industrial properties on the assessments. Those numbers aren't that big, so I don't know that it's unfair. I think people just want to complain about it instead of going. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to fill out the paperwork to appeal your taxes. I've done it.
I think it's a little bit of laziness. They're not educated. So I mean, while I do feel maybe not bad for them. I feel like they need to like help these people if they want to seek help, you know?
One of the other things I'll share with you, which to me is much more fair, if you want to call it that, and this is business and life, so I'm not here to say it's fair or unfair. The city wage tax, because they raised the real estate taxes, the city wage tax went from 4.5% down to 3.467 this past year. That is a significant decrease, and to me, I look at that as saying, well, if they want to keep more people living in the city, the taxes for the property are going to be what they are. But as people grow their
Decrease the wage
careers
tax.
and they want to bring in businesses, bring in business owners, the wage tax dropping down that much, that's pretty significant. So I see that as a real positive, and that's an effect of the reassessment. So the reality is they should have reassessed a long time ago. And city government is a disaster in general. It's probably the most corrupt, if you ask me. I mean, with all the backroom deals. I mean, there's a councilman who basically sold a property to his friend. It was Darryl Clark, if you're watching. You know what we're talking about. It was on the news. In Point Breeze, they sold him a city-owned property without opening it up to open bidding. And his childhood friend made a profit of like $300K on these places when other developers were interested. So I don't want to hear this is unfair when that kind of stuff's going on, and that costs the city money.
Jesus.
So the issue of the reassessment, I don't have so much a problem with. I love seeing the wage tax come down, and what I really have a problem with is the corruption in city council, and unfortunately they keep reelecting these people, which is why I don't live in Philadelphia anymore, because of all the corruption, and I mean, it costs a lot of money to live there, and there's challenges with schooling. I mean, you have to send your kids to private schools, so that costs even more money.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the issue that we're seeing here. I mean, imagine what the school district could do with that $200 million on the street.
Oh my gosh.
And delinquent taxes. So I don't have a problem with this. I have a problem with everything else they're doing.
Kind of on the back end.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the money's still out there. I mean, it's and a 3% increase. That's normal. I mean, that's a normal increase in property taxes.
Do your homework.
Open your mail and fill out the form. I mean, is it that hard? So, sounds like I'm going with this is fair and normal. Sounds like you're on the same page here. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I think that
I won you
they
over?
need to reach. I think that they need to be a little bit more educated, the home buyers out there, and maybe, ask for help, or like you're saying, open their mail. So, yeah, same page.
All right. Topic number 2, iBuyers. This has been a hot topic in real estate. Inman just came out with an article, which I found pretty interesting, and it was more of an opinion article from them where they talk about iBuyers riding a wave of change as they disrupt real estate, and basically saying the iBuyers are going to improve their algorithms. So before I ask your opinion on this, let's tell everyone what an iBuyer is if they don't know. So that's someone that buys a home sight unseen with some sort of automated valuation model. And there's companies like Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow's doing this as well. And it's a quick cash sale option for sellers when they go take their home to the market. So rather than focus on are they going to improve the algorithm or not, I think the question here is, are iBuyers really going to disrupt the business? I mean, is it going to change the way things are done? I mean, right now it's 2019. This is out in a couple markets. We're not seeing it so much here.
Not yet, no.
Jess, what's your take?
I think that they are going to be coming up and may affect us quite a bit. These are the signs on the side of the highway, right, that say we buy houses cash right now, right?
No, those are wholesalers. So those are the guys that will go directly to a seller and say, hey, I'll buy your property for X, knowing they can sell it for more, then add their profit on top of there and then take that to the market. I mean, that's a slimy business model. This is much different.
Sounds a little bit different. But I still feel like I was reading the article and it says that these apps like OfferPad and Open Door, it sounds like you can do it all through your phone, agree to a contract, get an offer within 48 hours, move forward. It sounds like you don't even have to talk to anybody pretty much. Sounds like it's quick and the best option as a seller for netting the most money. I don't know if that's there. Human touch, you're definitely not going to be exchanging ideas. I don't even know if you can get in touch with someone directly on the phone. I do think people like things right immediately, instant gratification. I want I want to put my house on the market and I want to get an offer within 2 days and I want to get it sold. I think that's the way the market's kind of going, and the customers that's the kind of transaction they're going to want. But I feel like a lot of people are still going to want that human interaction, bouncing ideas off of each other. I put a lot of work into this house, things like that. These iBuyers might not be targeting those types of properties, but I do think we're going to be, faced with the challenge of an iBuyer more and more as the years come.
So what's happening right now in some markets? It's not happening here in the greater Philadelphia area, but Arizona, for example, Zillow's doing this. So they offer the option of instant offers. We've talked about this before, where someone can come in, they can submit they want to sell their home, then they have their formula they plug in. They say, hey, we'll buy your home right now for X price, whatever that is. That is an option for people, and depending on the need of the seller, they may want to go that way. Think about the out-of-state executor who's got an estate to sell. Mm-hmm. For them, they may not want to have to travel. They may not want to have to go clean out the place, do all that stuff, and it depends on the terms in there. So, these sort of investors, because that's what they are, that's a decent option for people if that's the way to go. To your point, if they're looking to maximize the price of the property, may not be the best way to go. Now, what the article argues here from Jim Dalrymple is that buyers are gonna improve their algorithms. Well, yeah, of course that's going to happen. However, what I would say to that is that there is still, when you're on like that pristine street where nothing is sold for 5 years and people want to move there, an iBuyer option is not going to maximize the price for that person.
No.
It's going to be the family that wants to move there because they're living up the street in a smaller home, or they're 5 streets away and they want to keep their kids in the same school or whatever that is. Other homes where it's a townhome community and they're all the same, right? Or it's
Mm-hmm.
a new, then the iBuyer may be a little more appealing. It's someone who wants the ease of a cash offer, someone that wants to remove the hassle of putting their home on the market, and price isn't going to be top importance to them. Because there is no question to me that when you hire an agent, and there's a lot of data that backs this up, Keeping Current Matters is a great one to look at. When you hire an agent, the right agent, they market the home properly, you're going to get more for the home. There's people that aren't going to value price above everything else. We've seen even some sellers take less because people are waiving home inspections, and they're still getting a great price, but it might be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, not even that much really. So I'm clear we're going to see more of this. It hasn't hit our market yet.
No,
there's you've got a little map there. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, they're really seeing it around Phoenix. They're talking about it down in Florida and Tampa. It's huge in Atlanta, but it's really not in the Northeast too much yet.
Well, part of the issue with that is the Northeast. I mean, we have very little turnover here. Our turnover is less than 5%, where some of these other markets, I mean, and you talk about like Florida, Arizona, those places, they have higher turnover. So, again, for those people, there's maybe a little more inventory. I mean, so, this is going to be something to watch. There's no question to me that we're going to see more and more of this as the markets get penetrated and the process gets streamlined a bit, because there's going to be people that don't want the hassle. It's like the people that they don't want to go to the grocery store, right? Like, different example, but they hit a button and the groceries show up. They don't want to go pick out the steak they're going to eat or the vegetables or all that stuff. It's just right there. So I am clear.
Sell your house.
Yeah, and I mean it's you can buy everything else online. So
I think it's coming.
Well, and it's no different than some of the other disruptions that we've seen with discount brokers, with the wholesalers. I mean, I've had to meet with sellers and show them, hey, like, you don't want to deal with these kind of people because they're gonna take your equity and make it their own as a profit. Mm-hmm. That's the agent's job, to educate people better, and it's on the agents to give consumers a better experience, because some of these realtors out there, they don't know what to do. We've talked about this before. So when you have a bad consumer experience happen, people want the hassle-free one and maybe sacrifice a little bit of money, because you either pay with your money or you pay with your time. They're valuing less money, less time.
I feel like it's going to come down to these iBuyers and then really qualified agents who know what they're doing, mm-hmm. and it's just going to weed everybody out.
Well, and that's where a lot of the agents out there practicing real estate need to look in the mirror and see how they're servicing their clients. I think that's what it really comes down to.
Wake up.
So we agree again. This is going to be happening. It's going to be more of a disruption. Good info for people watching here, because we're not seeing it in our market yet.
Mm-mm.
So the motivational portion of the show.
I got it.
Well, lay it on us here, Jess.
From Oprah, you get in
Who's
life.
Oprah?
Oprah is. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I am kidding.
She's gonna. Is she running for president?
I don't. Who knows?
Maybe.
Apparently,
we'll
you need
see.
to have no political experience anymore.
I might be president. I'm just kidding.
Well, you probably take a pay cut, and it's
I
a
probably
pretty crappy
would.
job. So I don't know if that's what you want to be doing.
It's from Oprah. We love Oprah. I love Oprah anyway. She says, you get in life what we have the courage to ask for. So this automatically makes me think of like anything that you really want. You're never going to get it unless you ask for it. And automatically your mind goes, you don't want to ask for it because you're afraid of rejection. Because rejection is the worst thing in the world. Like you get rejected and you feel like you're going to, I don't know, crawl up and die. But that's actually not going to happen. Like when you're on an appointment and you are asking for them to, maybe sign the listing contract, you're not going to get it unless you ask for it, right? So I think that getting over the fear of rejection is huge here. But once you do and you just ask for what you want, it's going to open a lot of doors for you.
So I would actually go a little deeper on this. I mean, the sales comparison's an obvious one. You have to ask for the business, ask for the order, ask for the appointment. So if you're a salesperson watching this, if you're not asking for the appointment, you might as well just go get another job at this point because it's not going to work out for you. But I look at it as like people's relationship, right? Like if they're feeling a certain way and they won't tell the other person, and it's any relationship. It could be your friend, it could be a coworker, husband, wife, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. If you're not asking and telling them how you feel, then you're not going to get what you want. I mean, there's these people that like bottle stuff up and they don't talk about it, and then all of a sudden it's like an issue. It's like, where was that 5 months ago when this first came up? Like that drives me insane. Mm-hmm. That's why I really like this quote. Because,
you're going deep on me.
Well, but like think about it. I mean, you get these. I mean, I'm sure you've been in a situation with somebody in your life, whoever, and they've been like really ticked off at you for something that happened, and maybe instead of talking about it, they just bottled it up, and then it came out like later in some weird way, right? And,
sounds familiar.
I mean, there's a million ways this stuff happens, right? So I think that's that to me is you have to ask for those things. Like if you want to have someone hold you accountable and like work out, like right. So you got to ask the trainer to help you.
Yes.
You got to say, hey, I want you to be hard on me, or I want you to do whatever. So I find that it's super critical just to be direct. I mean, this is what this is all about for me. Because when you're not direct,
don't play games.
Well, it just wastes a lot of time.
Yep.
I mean, time is the most valuable asset. So if you're not being direct with people, and there's a nice way to be, you don't have to, this doesn't mean be aggressive or anything like that, but just asking for what you want. Like, hey, I want my son to hang out with me and go to a baseball game, I'm going to ask him. I'm not going to expect him to tell me. He's 6 years old, So I mean, that's the that's like that's a simple example. But if you're not
I want
asking,
Rich to fold the laundry and put it away.
Did you ask him?
Yeah, I did, and he did.
See, it's amazing. I mean, but that happens in relationships all the time. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something where, and I've been guilty of this. So I'm not, but I like want something to happen, and then it doesn't. I've learned that 15 years later, you got to ask for stuff.
I'm pretty direct when it comes to that kind of stuff, like relationships, like things like that. But when it comes to the business or something in your life that you want to change, even bigger than that, with maybe I don't know, your goals that you have, like you said, like your weight or something like that, or like any physical things like that. I feel like when it comes to business or something like that, I get a little bit caught up because you're afraid of getting like turned down or something like that. So that's something that I would work.
Well, and if you want to talk about the salesperson side, I mean, rejection's part of being in sales. But let's take it away from like real estate. Like if you want to advance in your company, or you want to learn more about something else, if you don't ask that person,
you're just going to
stay. They're never going to. They're
not going to know.
Someone else will. That's the point. Someone else is going to ask if you don't. So
I feel like you build a story in your head, and that's really not true half the time. Just go for it.
Yeah, and people don't ask enough and aren't direct enough, and they say, "Wow, I really would have liked to have done that." And why didn't you ask? I mean, it's that simple. So, and it takes time to kind of learn that too. So, sounds like we're 3 for 3 on agreements this week. Very exciting. Talk to you next week. Thanks for watching Toole Time.
Thanks.